Hey everyone, and welcome to my first episode of the brand new podcast called Push the Button Nostalgia. This podcast is dedicated to all things video games and consoles, range from old school retro, such as the Atari 2600, all the way up to current gen hardware. For example, the Xbox Series S and X and PS5. In this first episode, we'll be talking about all things Uncharted Drake's Fortune on the PS3. So I hope you're all ready to experience the nostalgia with me and have your popcorn ready to go and are comfy in your seat. So without further ado, let's get started. Uncharted Drake's Fortune released on PlayStation 3 in North America on November 19th, 2007, Japan and Australia on December 6, 2007, then a day later in the European Union on December 7th the same year. The game was announced at E3 2006 during Sony's press conference when the company unveiled the infamous PS3, the Fat PS3 I should be more specific on, but wouldn't be released until November 19th of the following year in 2007. 10 weeks after its debut to the world, Uncharted went on to sell 1 million copies worldwide, as well as selling 30,215 units in its first week alone, which in my opinion is a remarkable and impressive achievement of its own and for the company. The game was developed by Naughty Dog Studios and published by Sony Entertainment. It was so successful that Naughty Dog went on to create Uncharted 2 through 3 on the PS3, and then created Golden Abyss on the PS Vita, and then proceeds to remaster the original 3 games into the Nathan Drake collection to release on the PlayStation 4, as well as many others, such as A Thief's End on the PS4 and The Lost Legacy, which carried on to actually, it was on the PS4 and then released in a pack with A Thief's End and A Lost Legacy on the PS5 as its own separate game, which was a combo packed together. So I'm going to be reading the rest of this from my computer, and I might get some information wrong, but that's okay. I know I'm still learning. I haven't done a podcast episode on my own actually in like probably 3 years. But actually no, it's 3 or 4 years. But here's some interesting facts about the development of the first game that a friend sends me as a list, and a few things I got from ChatGPT. Uncharted was originally codenamed Project Big during its startup stages of creation, in which the protagonist didn't even have a name yet. So basically, this next fact is from ChatGPT, since I honestly didn't know where Nathan Drake's name even originated from. So here it is. Apparently, Drake came from Amy Hennig, who is the story guru and creative director of the first game. And I think she did the second and third one too. I could be wrong, but she thought of him being the direct descendant of Sir Francis Drake, who was a Spanish explorer. I don't remember the time. I think it was like at the time of the game taking place like 400 years prior. I think in 1500, 1600. I could be wrong, but he was the direct descendant of Sir Francis Drake, who we see the remains of during the first game's story. So Uncharted Drake's Fortune was always intended and created for the Sony PS3 as well, since they had a better graphical enhancement instead of 480p. So basically the PS3 could output, some games outputted to 1080p, but a vast majority of them did 720p. And it was nice because you can hook up HDMI cables to it, or you can do the RCA yellow, white, red cables and whatnot. So basically the HDMI portion just upscaled it to 720p and 1080p. I cannot think for the life of me right now. But basically the game I can't talk. The game basically follows Nathan Drake, who's actually voiced by Nolan North, who's such an incredible voice actor for video games. He was also in the Uncharted movie, I want to say, as like a one-time thing in one scene when when Tom Holland, who plays Nathan Drake in the game, he crashes the cargo plane and he washes up on shore and he sees Nolan North is sitting in a chair, And I don't remember what he says. I saw the movie a long time ago, but it was actually kind of funny because I thought he would be the one to play Nathan Drake in the movie as the main role. But Tom Holland was fine. But you have your journalist and friend Elena Fisher and your old time buddy Victor Goddamn Sullivan, Sully for short, which is his nickname, on their journey to find the riches of El Dorado. Here are the few of the key story events. It's not all of them, it's just a few. So just bear with me. I'll make sure to get all the next ones for the next thing I'm going to cover soon. But while Nathan and Elena are on a fishing vessel searching for the coffin of his ancestor, Sir Francis Drake, which they find the drop zone by the coordinates of the family heirloom ring he wears around his neck, that Drake does. Inside the coffin, they find a very important clue, which sends them on an adventure to find the so-called El Dorado, Holy Grail, treasure, holy shit moment. But afterwards are attacked by pirates and their ship is destroyed. But as it's being destroyed, you see Sully and his seaplane come down and swoop you and scare the pirates away and take you and Elena with them to find the lost treasure. And then we got the coordinates from the ring actually take them to an undiscovered island in the Pacific Ocean, in which they become stranded because, well, Sully and Nate basically take the boat, leave Elena behind at their little makeshift camp they had, and they go out without her to find the El Dorado treasure. And it's funny because after a German Nazi U-boat gets blown up, she punches you because she grabs you basically when you're being chased by the pirates. I know I keep on saying grabs a lot, but when she grabs you, she punches you in the face because she's pissed and she's happy you're alright, but she's pissed because you left her stranded and she almost blows your head off, pretty much. But, where was I? But while exploring the jungle, both Victor and Nathan come across a Nazi U-boat, which I just brought up, that went over a waterfall and ended up getting stuck in place. So, Jesus Christ. So Drake goes into the sub to explore the remains and the abandonment of the U-boat, which contains a page from the journal showing the statue was sent to an island that he got from like an old navigational board that the captain had set up in his quarters. And he traced everything onto the journal page, entry page, and that's where he basically got it from. But it's actually a funny moment because you turn around, you see the captain who's all like rotted away, and it looks like he had a bullet hole in his forehead, which he did because he ended up getting cursed, which I'm getting to in a second, and he blew his brains out pretty much, like for a better term. But long story short, Nate trips over a torpedo after he so pretty much he trips over the torpedo after he traces everything, and as he's trying to like figure out his way through, he opens one of the, I don't know the term for the actual door in the sub, one of the blast doors, and it hits one of the torpedoes that's hanging to the lower right of it, on the bottom, like above the floor, and it starts ticking. It starts initiating and activating. So get this. So when he crawls out of, well, when Nate crawls and swims out of the German U-boat, he sees these pirates just drag him out, right? And then he sees Sully on his knees with his hands behind his head, I believe, or it's behind his back. I cannot remember for the life of me. But basically, there's a guy who's the leader of the pirates, who's the main guy who hired them and whatnot, and who's actually the second antagonist of the game. And it's funny because they start saying that Sully owes them a great debt of money which he does, with Sully, there's nothing new there. He owes that to everyone. So he says, I'm not paying you, I'm not giving you, he says, I'm not giving you the journal. Nate does say that to Roman. And it's funny. I know I keep on saying it's funny, but it actually is really funny. The Sully gets shot in the upper left chest pocket or the right chest pocket by Roman, and we think that Sully's killed, which he isn't. Spoiler alert. If you haven't played the game yet, well, now you know. It's so Nate runs. He sees Elena. Blah blah blah. We went through that, but while exploring the island and discovering Sir Francis Drake's dead body in a tomb. Wait, did I miss something? No. So, while exploring the island and discovering Sir Francis Drake's dead body in a tomb, Drake is attacked by mutants, which in the end turn out to be the Spanish, who were cursed by the idol, the El Dorado golden idol. And then the Germans get cursed by the idol. It's weird how that's working. Because who knew the Spanish would get, then the Germans would. The Germans who worship the idol, El Dorado, turn them into mutated creatures. That's what the German captain was aboard the submarine. That's why he blew his brains out, because he didn't want to infect his crew. I think he was the only one left in that entire boat. No, there's another guy. I think he was in the water, propped up against the door, maybe. But besides the point. So, before this gets too long, Drake, Elena, and Victor flood the city and destroy the idol before it's taken off the island to be sold to the highest bidder in global warfare for a super weapon to have the upper hand. And, as I said, warfare. So, it's weird because... What's the word? When they're exploring the bunker for where that U-boat came from, they find... what is it? A camera with film in it, and it turns out that the Germans were experimenting on each other and trying to get them to turn into the mutated creatures and whatnot. So all hell breaks loose. The Germans kill each other in the bunker. Elena's captured by what's his name? Roman. Drake saves her. He gets turned. Roman gets cursed by the idol. And then shot by his second in command with a shotgun. And then the guy who shot him with the shotgun, he's one of the final boss fights. He's, I guess, the main protagonist, you could say, technically. His helicopter crashes on his cargo vessel, and... It's weird how this worked, because I was actually mind blown by it when I was little. I don't know if that's weird or not. But the cable got wrapped around the antagonist's ankle and dragged him and the idol down to the ocean floor, and he drowned to death. It's kind of morbid, but it's actually a good ending. I enjoyed it. So, with the Uncharted series, you're able to tilt the PS3 controller left to right while bouncing on logs, so you don't, fall off and... die. Then you're able to tilt it up and down when throwing grenades at enemies due to the 6-axis placing control motion controls that deal with motion inside the actual controller itself. But it's weird because it's only available in the PS3 version of the game. I don't think it's in 2 or 3. I could be wrong, but I just mainly remember it being in the original PS3 release, but it also wasn't in the PS4 Nathan Drake collection or the PS5 variants, because you can play the game on PS5 if you have it on PS4. Ugh. There's also some very memorable puzzles in the game, such as the library when you have to turn the statues on top of bookcases. When you find Victor, Sully, he's not dead. It turns out he was shot in the chest, where he put Nate's journal, so it caught the bullet. I think it was the lighter and the journal. I could be wrong, but I believe it was just the journal that took a bullet for him. That's what kept it from entering his chest. Where was I? So the puzzles were very memorable in my opinion because, like, such as the library portion of one of the chapters, you have to turn the statues on top of the bookcases to open the secret entrance inside the library, which was a bit complicated because when I played this many years ago, I didn't really know how to read the journal. I didn't know if it was pointing north, south, east, west, whatever, northeast, southwest, whatever, and stuff. But I eventually figured it out, and my mom also helped me with it. But the game soundtrack is very memorable. I know I keep on saying memorable a lot, but it's very memorable, if I'm being honest. And great to listen to since it fits the overall vibe, the visual story, and the setting of the game's feel. It makes you feel like you're in the game. The ancient ruins of the game are breathtaking, like the underground aqueducts, where in one mission, after you open the secret entrance inside the library, it takes you to the underground aqueducts with traps and swinging braziers. Oh my god, I can't talk. Braziers, I like to call them for fun. That'll kill you if you're not careful and on your P's and Q's. So basically, they're like these giant braziers that have spikes on them, and they will impale you and they'll throw you off because of how much force they have and momentum from swinging from left to right. One of my favorite memories of playing on the Uncharted games, especially the first one, for the first time was on Christmas Day of 2007. I just got my PS3 that same morning as Christmas was happening from my mother and my dad as a present. I was, I think, 8 years old. And I remember turning the game on, and my mind was just like blown and captivated by the visuals and characters in the story. Like Drake, his yelling, it's a very Nolan North thing. You know it's him by the yelling because it's very distinct and it's very unique. But fun fact, my mom had to help me with the library puzzle to open the secret entrance by turning the statues on top of the 4 floor shelves, which I just said. But so all in all, would I recommend this game and series? Oh yeah, definitely, without a wholeheartedly doubt. There's so many memorable moments and shenanigans to get into and experience for yourself, personally. There's a lot of them I wish I could bring up, but I'm going to let you guys figure them out for yourselves. I personally would rank the game let's say a 9.8 out of 10, I believe, stars. And I stand by that wholeheartedly. The game means everything to me. Just the creation and stuff. I know a lot of people say A Thief's End and the second game are their favorites, and the first one's bad. But I truly like them all. I haven't played Golden Abyss on the PS Vita yet, though. Because I don't have a Vita. So, let me know if you played the game before and what your memorable moments are. And thank you so much for listening. And it blows my mind that I'm actually doing this myself. And actually doing it, even though I've thought about it for many years of doing my own podcast dedicated to video games. But, yeah. And I'll catch you guys next time. I hope you all enjoyed this. Please share it around if you like. It would really help me out greatly to get my name out there. But yeah, this is Chandler of the Push the Button Nostalgia, and I'll see you.